All right, guys. Now, first thing I want to say real quick right off the bat is I have all the respect in the world for Wretched Radio and Todd Friel and their ministry partners and all of that. This is not coming against them, okay? I really hope you understand that. Please don't attack me. I'm just giving also my opinion on this. You may differ. That's fine. But this just highlights a greater problem. Now, I'm going to play... Well, I'll play this in just a moment, but I'm going to get to my post on Facebook because that will be maybe a little bit easier to speak off of. Now, I made this post the other day, and I'll just read it. I have mad respect for big ministries like Wretched Radio and Todd Friel, but his latest video, which was on UAP, reinforces what I've been saying, that Christians are very ignorant on this topic, and it's sad to see a major ministry with many, and by the way, there's a lot of typos. It's voice-to-text errors, but the word many is M-A-N-Y, not mini, like mini M&Ms, with many eyeballs on it, sloppily try to give a Christian response. And therefore, the Christians that follow big ministries like this are left still ignorant on the topic. I remember what seems to be the only time Ray Comfort and his friends talked about it. That was also pretty sloppy, and years ago. Yet this is a far more relevant and important issue than anything else I see anybody talking about. I'm going to make a video that's just talking about what I'm doing right now. Again, I have huge respect for this ministry and what they do, and I'm just wanting to focus on the problem with Christians talking about the subject, especially in a big ministry. We need to do better. Now, that may have sounded a little harsh. I probably should have tempered that back a little bit. But yeah, so what am I talking about? Now, this is about a 20-minute video that Wretched Radio put out 6 days ago, as you can see right here. It might be their last video. I'm not sure if they had another video since then, but they talk about UAP. Now, the problem I have with Christians tackling this subject today, not necessarily everybody, but when big ministries talk like this, it really bothers me that we tend to keep it focused on one issue, and that is we need to go in apologetic mode right away, like boom, just like that, apologetic mode, to try and, first of all, describe away. That's what they were doing on this entire video, describe away what people see, basically a debunker, and that we need to tell the world, or tell the Christian in this instance, that, hey guys, they're just trying to undermine the gospel, and that trying to say that evolution exists elsewhere. That's why this is an issue. We're trying to say that aliens are coming from other planets, and that can't be so. This is what the Bible says, and case closed, end of story, done, let's go out to eat. It's the same thing all the time. Now, you might be thinking, Kurt, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is, well, there's a number of problems, but the issue isn't that life is from other planets. Now, I do respect that. That's, in some way that's good that they tackle that. Yes, I'm not disagreeing with some of that. But most people in the UFO community are not thinking that this is, another being from a different planet. The issue is way more broader than that. And the way that they just kind of debunk everything. Well, let me play this short clip right here. Now, they're talking about how, most of what people see are just balloons, or, a car light or whatever. Nothing in this entire video is acknowledging what the government is acknowledging, or people in the military, high-ranking, super high-ranking people are acknowledging. It's none of that. It's just, staying on the topic of people misreport things. They think they saw something, and it's just like a Starlink satellite or something like that. That is so far from what we should be talking about. We need to be talking about the reality that there is something out there, not just what Joe Schmo recorded on his, iPhone 9 or whatever. It's way more beyond that. And they keep it there, and they just talk about what most Christians talk about is, life on other planets. And that's what Ray Comfort did a few years ago. I think they put out a video. It was pretty short, I think, but it wasn't much. It wasn't a whole lot of substance there. I think it was probably better than this one. And again, I have mad respect for all these people. I'm not coming against them. But let me just play this. Keep in mind, there's absolutely no context whatsoever, and I'll explain in a second.
showing these? What are they looking through to see these objects?
Yeah, there are instruments that they use to lock on with their missiles and so on. And I've seen some of these where, it looks like it's rotating and things like that. I'm like, I know what's going on there. Because when the thing moves, it has to physically turn. But then the computer uprights it, so that's why it looks like it's spinning that way. And then the line is caused by an overexposure of the surrounding pixels. I've seen that kind of thing because I've taken pictures with a CCD through my telescope, and I get the same effect. So I can.
Okay, so it's downplaying military imagery, and there was no context. The video that they showed, what he's talking about probably has nothing to do with what the video was showing when they edited this. They probably just put that out there. Now I'm surprised they had that clip. And then the greater context are talking about balloons and all this, stuff like that. But yeah, the context of that video is extremely important. None of that was mentioned. Again, nothing about the hearings were mentioned. Just absolutely nothing. It was just trying to debunk, what some Joe Schmo probably seen on their, iPhone camera or something like that. But yeah, the context of that video, that clip that they just showed, it really bothered me when they played that part. I listened to this whole video, and again, there wasn't a whole lot of substance. When they played that short little clip, though, I was actually kind of like upset about that, like maybe a little bit angry, because again, nothing was said about it. Now, that clip was from September 9th, that hearing, in which several people went before Congress under oath, so their testimony really is important. And, they gave their testimony, but there was a drop. That video was dropped to Eric Burleson, and I forgot where. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of details. I think it was just within the last year that video was taken, like not even a year ago. I think November or something. This is last year now, but this was dropped September 9th, so less than a year at that time. I think it was off the coast of Yemen, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, what's really important is the context of that video. There was a Hellfire missile that shot at this thing that was classified as a UAP. That was the information that came with the video. There's a whole backstory with that, even more than what I'm describing right now. Now, I want to play another video real quick. Let's see, this one right here. Now, Stephen Diener, I'm going to play it in just a second. I might speed up the video just because there might be a lot there. Now, he talked to Eric Burleson, I think it was last week. Very awesome episode. Check it out, or 2 episodes, because it was split into 2 pieces. But he's just kind of responding, or recapping rather, that conversation. But this is the part about the Hellfire missile that was kind of important.
The bus.
Well, let me just explain real quick. So, Stephen Diener had on somebody who is a military analyst, I believe, and what's his name? It's slipping me right now, but he seen the rest of the video. He has access to these videos, and there is more to this video, and it is very anomalous, and there's even more videos of better substance than what was shown. It was a great episode. This is after the hearing, at some point between now and the hearing, September 9th, when he was on. Anthony Williams, that's his name, or his pseudo name, because it's not his real name. But anyway, so that's a little bit of the context, but check this out.
But I'm going to play this clip first, and I'll tell you why this is something that I haven't spoken about until now. And you and I both know, we've spoken to different people who have seen the entire video and have been told that the object keeps going. It didn't fall into the water like some people would say a balloon. Oh, well, the balloon didn't fall into the water. If it was a balloon, it kept moving. All right, so that was me talking to Eric about the Hellfire missile video. As we all know what that is, right? Where it hits the object, or seemingly hits the object and seemingly bounces off, keeps moving. And as I was framing the question, I was first framing it with telling of what I believe to be facts of the story from what were told to me by those with the knowledge of what is on that video. And the reason why I bring this up is because, again, revealing this for the first time, when I was saying that to Eric and talking to him about how, we've seen the rest of the video and the object keeps going, he seemed to be surprised when I told him that. I could be 100% incorrect, and Eric, if you're listening and I'm wrong about this, shoot me a text, give me a call, shoot me an email, whatever it is. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I just want to give my honest read on the situation when I was saying this to him. It seemed like I caught him off guard. And it seemed like he kind of just wanted to, go along with the conversation and not stop me in my tracks and say, whoa, wait, what are you talking about? What do you mean it kept going and it didn't crash? Like, you've seen the rest of the video? Well, no, I haven't seen the rest of the video, but I have spoken to those who have seen the whole video. And that's what I was told, as I've said here before in the show numerous times. But it just seemed like I caught him off guard with that, which was interesting, because if that's the first time that he's hearing that it didn't crash and it did keep going, then I'm not sure why no one else has told him that. But that was just my read. Again, I could be 100% incorrect on that read, but that was the read when I saw his reaction when I was telling him that. And I just wanted to put that out there because I hadn't before. But this was really interesting. And this is something that I didn't notice the first time around. This clip is a perfect example as to why I wanted to do an episode like this, because so much is said in these episodes and we so easily gloss over it, forget about it. There's so much to try to take in that it's impossible, truly impossible to take it all in one sitting. And I'm not just saying that because I want you to go back and listen to all the episodes over and over again. I mean, really, it's almost impossible to take it all in, especially with interviews like this. And this is a part that I didn't notice until I heard it for the third time as I was combing through to take notes. This part here when Eric Burlison is talking about what the Pentagon has not acknowledged yet.
And then there's these three fragments that appear to be identical and that follow along with it is somewhat interesting. It could be easily explained, but at the end of the day, we also have not had the Pentagon or anyone come forward and say anything about the video. So they've not really acknowledged it.
See, and that's the part I missed. I missed that part the first time around, and even the second time around. The fact that he said the Pentagon did not acknowledge this video. And that's something that's, might be easily glossed over. And let's move on to the next question, next topic, next interview. But to think about the fact that this video came out, it's a real video. It really came off of a military network. I know this for a fact. And the fact that the Pentagon has not acknowledged this thing, what does that say? Does it say, it's one of two things. One, it's plausible deniability, so just ignore it and let it go away, right? We don't want to talk about it because we can't talk about it, and just let it go away. And we'll slap somebody's wrist behind the scenes. Or two, it's so ridiculous to them that they don't even want to pay attention to it because it's not worth their time. I tend to go towards the latter. Okay, the first option there. That's just based off of my observations over the past month or so, past couple of months, really, since that video came out. But I just found that so intriguing when Eric said the Pentagon has not commented on that video. I found that quite incredible, actually. And I think that is because they can't comment on it. What are they going to say? That our missiles bounced off of some type of foreign object? This missile that is meant for heavy armored tanks to go through the armor, and it bounced off of this object and we were completely defenseless against it while running a separate mission? I mean, what is the Pentagon going to say, right? So that to me is why they haven't acknowledged it, because an acknowledgement of it would have to mean that this did happen and one of our strongest armor-piercing weapons did nothing to it. And that's a big acknowledgement, and I don't think that's an acknowledgement that the Pentagon is willing to make. Also, I don't think they want to talk to these 50 whistleblowers. Yes, 50. This was a big revelation from Eric Burlison when I spoke to him.
There's a long list. And for me, I've gathered a list of people from all the conversations that I've had with others, people that I need to at least reach out to. It's a long list. So.
All right, so there's more information there. I just wanted to give that as an extra bonus that he's got about Eric Burlison, like 50 other people that would want to come forward and talk, but they can't because they just don't feel like they are protected. Now, going back to the Hellfire missile, that's a lot more context, and that's pretty good information. But, Christians, by and large, do not have any knowledge on this topic. And when they talk about it, a lot of the times, like these bigger ministries especially, it's kind of cringe. If you are somebody in the UFO community and they talk about this, there's just a lot of cringe because it just shows the lack of knowledge they have on it. They're trying to talk about something that they really don't know much about. And that whole Hellfire missile thing, that really helps. I mean, you got some guy trying to explain it away, like, oh, it's just, a camera, trick of the camera or something. Okay, this is military footage, way different. People know what they're talking about when they analyze this stuff. And Anthony Williams, I think when he analyzed that video as his job, he said even other people couldn't really figure out what exactly is going on here, but it's really anomalous. And he said there's even way more anomalous videos than that. But it really helps to have that context. So, yeah, hold on. Anyway, back to what I was saying before about Wretched Radio and just how this topic is handled in general. It's way bigger than just, life coming from other planets. Most people don't even believe that anymore. Whatever is going on has been here for a long time. Now, there's a lot of theories as to what this could be. Some people say, it's from a different dimension. It could be spiritual, demonic, angelic. It could be just lots of different options to choose from. Now, I was thinking about this earlier. I was trying to find a post on Facebook. I know I posted something about it, but if we were not already stigmatized through different media outlets, especially like movies and stuff, like movies from the 50s, maybe 60s, and even the 90s had a lot of alien movies. If we were not told, or made to believe that these things came elsewhere, I'm willing to bet that we would think more of whenever we talk about like flying saucers or UAP or UFOs or whatever, our first inclination would not go to, life from other planets. I'm convinced of that personally. I think we were just kind of, culturally made to think that right away. And that's like the first thing that we think about. That's what, if it's ever covered in the news or whatever, or in Christian ministries talk about this, that's the first thing they think about. If we did not have that history, then this has been occurring for a long time. I don't think, let's just say 100 years ago, when people saw like big airships or whatever, a couple hundred years ago, whenever that happened, did they think it was from a different planet? I'm willing to bet no. Based on my little memory fumes that I have, I don't think that that's what they thought about either. But this stuff has been going around for a long time. There's not really good evidence that it came from another planet, that these things have. Now, it could be multiple things. Some people subscribe to that theory that it could be multiple different things, but the conversation about them coming from other planets, it's not really that big anymore. That's so, 90s or 2000s maybe, but not 2020s. It's just talking to my brother. I didn't know this. My brother is into this topic. That was crazy. We were talking online just the other day about this, and he's not a Christian or anything, but he thinks that, well said anyway, that these things are from here. Didn't even say anything about aliens. So, yeah, it just kind of shows that people are not talking about this from the respect that it comes from another planet. And, Christians, the first inclination is, we got to, defend the Bible that there's only life here. Some people will have that argument where there could be life on other planets, but, it's okay because of X, Y, and Z. But that's really not the issue. Like, there's a lot of topics and subtopics and so many things to talk about when it comes to this issue. And I think it just does the Christian community a disservice when that's all that we focus on is what people aren't even talking about, what the world's not even talking about. And this is such a crucial issue, I believe, to talk about. And we can't settle for just, the same old. We need to be knowledgeable about the topic enough so we can talk about it. And that's why I believe that we should have disclosure, why we should seek out the truth on this matter so we know what we're talking about. But yeah, I want to make another video. In fact, I already did record it. I think I'm going to re-record it because I had some additional thoughts. And it does go hand in hand with this, especially the thoughts that I have about it. When people say that they are too busy, like I just literally had a Christian friend of mine say that, I'm not interested in this topic at all. I'm too busy as well. And I'm sure most people don't care because they're also too busy. And I also had another friend in the past that said the same thing. So I have some pretty big issues with that. And it goes hand in hand because I give a lot of reasons of why Christians should be interested in this topic. Not even the full gambit of all the reasons. Just a bunch off the top of my head, and I'm sure I could think of more. But I think I'm gonna re-record that video, and hopefully you guys get something out of it. But I think there's a lot more I wanted to say to this video too. I was thinking about it before. It was still bothering me. But yeah, there's so much more than just, trying to play apologetics. Evolution didn't occur on other planets. Okay, that's great and all, but the issue is way bigger than that. Way, way bigger. So, I don't know. What did you guys think about that? Let me know.